How's it going, everyone? Reckless Yuki here, and in today's video what I want to do is share with you guys a small update to my gaming arsenal, which is an item that's going to allow me to play old PlayStation titles without having to pay the prices for PlayStation Now. And it's all thanks due to my new to me PlayStation 3 Fat with backward compatibility. So stay tuned in the video. All right, before we get into the video, I want to say thank you guys very much for the support you've been giving me. I do greatly appreciate it because in the last few weeks, I've been gaining more momentum than I ever have in the past 2 years of doing YouTube. So thank you guys once again. I really do appreciate it. Even though I just repeated myself, that's how much I appreciate it. But anyways, getting into the video. So PlayStation Now is something that's out that's available for the consumer if they want to pay $20 a month or $45 for every 3 months to play old school games on their PlayStation 4 or other Sony compatible devices. And one thing that I kind of thought was a problem with that is that due to it being a streaming based service, not everyone's going to have an ideal internet connection to play it, as well as the games available for that isn't really something that is going to be interesting to me specifically, because I think my game taste as far as the games that I want to play from those older systems isn't going to be kind of like the mainstream games that everyone else would want to play. And the reason why I say that is because the games I really want to play, or the ones that I really want to have backward compatibility, is fighting games, because I absolutely love fighting games. It's one of my favorite genres, in the whole world, is just fighting games. And that's what really kind of got me hooked into gaming, at least competitive gaming, was Street Fighter 2 when I was a kid. And I used to practice at that game all the time in my little podunk town. And in my podunk town, I was the best Asian kid around. But once I saw, a YouTube video of Daigo versus Justin Wong, my dreams were shattered. But anyways, regardless of that, I still love fighting games. And as you can see, this is my PlayStation 2 collection. And I'm really happy about this collection because I have a lot of great fighting games and some not so great, but some of the gems I do have is going to be Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Absolutely love this game. And then my absolute favorite fighting game of all time is Capcom vs. SNK 2. I used to practice this game religiously. It's just one of the most fun fighting games I've ever had or never had the joy of playing. And I really hope they bring it back with a third installment, but most likely they won't. But one day, I hope they do. And I have the Street Fighter Alpha Anthology for the PlayStation 2. This has Street Fighter Alpha 1, 2, and 3. So really fantastic game. And then a King of Fighters game. And then lastly, one of my other last gems when it came to the PlayStation 2 was the Metal Slug Anthology. And this has Metal Slug 1, 2, 3, X, 4, 5, and 6. So this is just an amazing game. I do love Metal Slug, and this just brings a lot of hours of entertainment. So with that collection and those titles that I'm interested in playing, PlayStation Now is something that I'm not really going to be interested in because I don't think they're going to focus on those titles. And that's where the PlayStation 3 came in, because this PlayStation 3 is just going to be fantastic because this is going to be backward compatible. As you can see with this little flippy up tab here, it has a multimedia slot, so that means that this is one of the original ones that was backward compatible. So this is just going to be an amazing unit. And I have to give a big shout out to one of my personal closest high school friends. I guess this guy was my friend since middle school. His name's McMahon. At least that's my nickname for him because that was his mother's nickname for him. And McMahon was kind enough to send me this unit. He recently got this refurbished because this, like every other fat PlayStation out there, it suffered from basically it cooking itself due to the inefficient power supply and the underpowered fan that came with it. It wasn't able to pull enough air in order to cool it, and then the power supply just cooked the inside, so it really couldn't maintain a low temperature. So that's what this suffered from. And recently he's just sent this to Sony to have them refurbish it, so it's completely factory refurbished from Sony, even though that the face kind of looks a little scratched up and banged up. The internals is what really counts, so they serviced it and it works perfectly. So I'm really excited about this. So instead of paying for PlayStation Now service, I'm going to be playing my games that I really want to play in my old PlayStation 2 collection on this unit. And to prevent this from overheating or overcooking itself, I did take some precautions to make sure that this isn't going to do the same as it's always going to do if I don't take these precautions. And that's going to replace some of the internals. So some things that I bought once I received this, things that I researched and then bought, is I purchased a new fan for it. This is a 19 blade fan. So this is going to be able to efficiently pull more air into the unit, so it's able to, increase the heat transfer and the heat inside the unit so it stays cooler. So this is a refurbished used bladed fan, so this is definitely gonna work fantastic. Or hopefully I hope this works. This is refurbished, so I just bought this off of Amazon in the used market. So I'm hoping that this works. We're gonna see in a few weeks if it actually does. And then I also bought a new power supply for the unit. The power supply that originally came with is something I can't pronounce. It's just too many jumbled numbers and letters, but the one that I read on forums that people recommended that they swap out with it is the APS TAC 226. Supposedly it's supposed to be a more heat efficient power supply with the same amount of power output. But then I also read on some forums that the power supply that is provided with them is just kind of too much for the PlayStation 3. Like, it doesn't need all that, and the highest recorded amount that the PlayStation 3 will ever use is actually a lot less than that. So people recommended replace it with one of these, which is an APS 231. So this is a lower watt power supply, but what that means is that more of the output of this power supply will be used, so there will be less heat wasted, and so less heat generated, or less power wasted, less heat generated. And as you can see that the fans, like, there's not very many vent holes. That's because they don't really need a whole lot of vent holes with this unit. So this will be a lot more thermal friendly for the PlayStation 3 itself. So I'll be swapping it out with one of these. And then lastly, one of the other recommendations was to replace the thermal paste and the thermal pad. So the thermal pad I bought is just like something that's advertised for the PlayStation 3 from the Amazon store. It's just, they say that this is perfect for the PlayStation 3. So I spent a little bit more money than I should have on it, but it looks like a fantastic thermal pad, so I think it'll do just fine. And then the thermal paste I'm using is some Arctic MX4. This is the same thermal paste I use in my computer. It seems to be doing a fantastic job, and especially because it's supposed to last for 8 years, so I'll be really happy about this, and I won't really have to worry about the thermal paste on the CPU or GPU cracking and failing like the original thermal paste does. So that is what I'll be replacing it with. And lastly, there is one other mod that people have been out there doing. It's like the like kind of the Fan X mod, where you drill extra holes in it to increase airflow, or you basically just cut a big hole in the bottom right below the fan. But I feel that if I did that, it wouldn't suck the air from the appropriate vent, so it won't actually get the airflow desired to cool everything else off. So I'm just going to stick with these mods for the most part, and if for some reason it starts kicking up really loud, or I feel that it's going to overheat again, then I'll probably look into some other solutions for it. But anyways, that's it for the video. I want to share with you guys my PlayStation 3 that I recently got thanks to my dearest friend McMahon, and also my PlayStation 2 collection that I'll be playing here shortly, where I can basically play these with the PlayStation 3 and bypass PlayStation Now's subscription plan and their kind of laggy gaming service and their lack of backward compatibility, because they'll never have these games on it, at least not anytime soon. So anyways, thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys again in the next one. All right, bye-bye.